The Liebherr excavator entered the city of France early in the morning, long before most people realized that this ordinary workday would turn into something unforgettable. The city was an old one, built with layers of history stacked beneath its streets like pages of a hidden book. Narrow roads, stone buildings, cafes opening their shutters, and the smell of fresh bread filled the air. The excavator moved slowly through the outskirts first, its massive tracks rolling carefully over modern asphalt, escorted by flashing safety vehicles and city workers wearing reflective vests. The operator's name was Marc Delon, a quiet man in his late 30s who had worked with heavy machinery across France for nearly 2 decades. Marc was known among engineers as someone who respected machines the way sailors respect the sea. He never rushed, never ignored vibrations, never mocked warnings. That morning, he climbed into the cabin with the calm focus of someone expecting nothing more than another routine job. The task was simple on paper: replace an old underground water line beneath a central boulevard near a historic square. But France's cities are never simple beneath the surface. As the Liebherr excavator reached the city center, people stopped to watch. Tourists raised their phones. Cafe owners stepped outside, and children pressed their faces against windows. The machine looked enormous against the elegant buildings, its yellow body standing out against pale stone walls and iron balconies. Some residents felt uneasy. Heavy machines did not belong here, among centuries-old streets and fragile foundations. Marc parked the excavator exactly where the engineers had marked the site. Traffic was diverted, barriers were placed, and police officers guided pedestrians away. The city seemed calm, controlled, organized. Marc lowered the stabilizers, checked pressure readings, and gently lowered the bucket into the pavement. The first layer broke cleanly. Asphalt cracked, dust rose, and the sound echoed between buildings like distant thunder. Work progressed slowly and carefully. Beneath the asphalt lay layers of concrete, old stones, and compacted soil. Marc could feel the difference through the controls. Every movement told a story of what lay below. He paused often, letting the engineers inspect what was uncovered. By midday, the trench was deep enough to reveal something unexpected. Old stonework. Not modern concrete, not recent repairs, but ancient masonry, blocks shaped by hand, darkened by time. The engineers exchanged nervous glances. According to official records, nothing important should have been there. But records are often wrong in cities older than memory. Marc stopped the machine immediately. City archaeologists were called, and the work paused for several hours. Curious crowds grew larger. News vans arrived. Whispers spread that something historic had been found. The archaeologists examined the stones and confirmed that they were part of a forgotten underground structure, possibly Roman or medieval. The city decided to proceed carefully. The excavator would continue, but under strict supervision. As afternoon turned into evening, Marc resumed work. He adjusted the excavator's arm, reducing power, using precision instead of strength. The bucket gently removed soil around the stone structure. That was when something strange happened. The excavator vibrated, not the normal vibration of resistance, but a deep, uneven tremor, like the ground itself was shifting. Marc froze. He felt it again, stronger this time. A low cracking sound traveled up through the machine's frame. Marc's heart rate increased, but his hands remained steady. He shut down movement instantly. Then the ground collapsed. Not violently, not explosively, but silently, like a breath being pulled from the earth. The trench widened, stones slid inward, and a hidden underground chamber opened beneath the excavator's front tracks. The Liebherr tipped forward slightly, enough to make people scream. Marc reacted instantly. He swung the excavator's arm outward and planted the bucket against solid ground, preventing a full collapse. Dust filled the air, alarm sounded, and the crowd was pushed back by police. When the dust settled, what lay beneath shocked everyone. A vast underground tunnel stretched into darkness beneath the city, lined with stone arches and water channels. It was not just one tunnel, but part of an entire hidden network. Engineers quickly realized the terrifying truth. The excavator had been working above an ancient, hollowed underground system, and the collapse had weakened nearby foundations. Buildings were at risk. Emergency protocols were activated immediately. Nearby apartments were evacuated. Shops closed. Sirens echoed through the streets. Marc remained inside the excavator, acting as a living anchor, keeping the machine steady while engineers assessed the situation. If he moved too quickly, the ground could give way completely. Then came the second shock. Water began to rise inside the tunnel. Somewhere, a pressure line had ruptured. Water flowed rapidly through the ancient channels, increasing erosion beneath the street. The ground softened minute by minute. The excavator's stabilizers began sinking slowly. Marc knew the machine could not stay there much longer. Using extreme caution, he repositioned the excavator's arm deeper into the tunnel opening, bracing it against a stone arch that appeared structurally strong. It was a risky decision. Ancient stone could crumble under modern force, but it was the only option to prevent the machine from falling entirely into the underground void. For hours, Mark sat inside the cabin, sweating, focused, listening to every sound. Engineers shouted instructions through radios. Rescue teams prepared cables and cranes. The city above waited in silence, holding its breath. At nightfall, a massive mobile crane arrived. Steel cables were attached carefully to the excavator. The operation to pull it back began slowly, centimeter by centimeter. Each movement sent vibrations through the ground. People watched from balconies, streets lit by emergency lights, history and modern technology colliding in one tense moment. Suddenly, a section of the tunnel ceiling collapsed deeper inside, sending a wave of water and dust upward. The excavator lurched. The cables tightened violently. For a moment, it looked like the machine would be lost forever beneath the city. Mark closed his eyes. Then the cables held. With a final controlled pull, the Liebherr excavator was dragged back onto solid ground. Cheers erupted. Some people cried. Mark shut down the engine and sat still, his hands trembling for the first time that day. The excavator was safe, but the city was changed. Over the following weeks, investigations revealed that the tunnel network extended beneath several districts. Some parts were Roman aqueducts, others medieval escape routes, forgotten and undocumented. The collapse had prevented a far greater disaster. If the excavator had not triggered the failure when it did, a major sinkhole could have formed during peak traffic hours. Mark became an unlikely hero. He refused interviews, saying only that the machine warned him, and he listened. The city honored the construction team, archaeologists, and emergency workers. The site was sealed and reinforced, and the discovery became one of the most significant urban archaeological finds in decades. The Liebherr excavator was repaired, cleaned, and returned to service. But Mark never forgot that day. Every time he drove through that city afterward, he looked at the quiet streets and thought about the world beneath them, the fragile layers of history supporting modern life. Beneath your streets lie centuries of courage, struggle, creativity, and human effort, layered carefully like the stones of your oldest cities. Every cafe, every boulevard, every balcony overlooking a narrow street stands not only on soil and stone, but on memory. That day, when the Liebherr excavator paused above the hidden tunnels, it was as if the past itself reached out to be noticed, not to destroy, but to be respected. In the calm hands of Marc Delon and the coordinated response of engineers, workers, archaeologists, and emergency teams, the world saw something deeply French: discipline without panic, intelligence without arrogance, and respect for history without fear of progress. The machine did not fight the city, and the city did not reject the machine. Instead, they listened to each other. Modern steel bowed to ancient stone, and in that moment, France showed how the future can move forward without erasing the past. This story ends not with loss, but with gratitude. For the lives protected, for the history revealed, and for the reminder that a nation is strongest when it honors what lies beneath its feet as much as what rises above them. To the people of France, may your cities continue to breathe with memory. May your progress always walk hand in hand with wisdom. And may you never forget that even in the most ordinary workday, your land still has stories to tell, waiting patiently to be heard.